did the Beaver Dash this year.
I wanted to, I just wasn't around.
It's
It's hard now. If I feel like I'm not gonna be a player, that's just the
You guys are
You're laughing about it. That's the reality. Why would I spend $400,000 at 8%? No, it's more about my life, risk adverse. I'm adventurous. And obviously, I'm the one working here, so I want to be here. She's not going to let me do something. Yeah, 2% of growth. It's also just a super nice little house because it's very private, it's quiet. We're surrounded on all sides by farmland, by retention ponds. We got money, and so it's great for us in the dog. Sell me your house for
Like vitamin D. Thank you.
Debbie coming? I did, yeah. I meeting with her yesterday. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. If it's not a good way to want to come out there. No, it's sub-zero. If it's
Ooh, that was the wrong side. This
Yeah, still don't really know. Yeah. I go to first.
Jeffrey, the nerd in school to sit in the front row, or were you the nerd in school to sit in the front row? Sleeping? You know, in college, in high school, yeah, I'd sit in the back if I could. In law school, front row. Because I would change the back.
We had a couple of. Funny, I would take turns. One of them. No, I mean, mine's longer.
Oh. I just was trying to figure out how to like the ergonomics.
Well, what am I?
Yeah,
I enjoy it. I understand.
She's doing the real work. I'm just chatting with people.
Ryan is a big for playground safety.
It's called CPSI.
Icebreaker.
You taking that? Oh, I thought you said you and Ryan. No, Ryan and Eric. CPSI. Certified Playground Safety. It's quite involved. I've never taken the class. The funny thing is, The state requires the spell.
Wait, is that the guy still on?
Because if you don't, there will be cracks. Yeah.
I'm gonna mix it up for it.
All right, everybody. Howdy, howdy. My name is Mike Womack, I'm the city manager here in Lapeer. It is 5:32. We are recording this on YouTube, so just keep that in mind. This is an informal thing. I still don't want you shouting out and screaming or anything, but this will be interactive. Hopefully you've all got stickers that the clerk has handed out to you. And those will come in handy in a little bit. Basically we're going to talk about some things. I'm trying to figure out what we need to do in this community. I'm still fairly new, although hopefully I'm not being referred to as the new city manager. I've been here since May now. That all being said, I've introduced myself. This is Ramona Sanchez. She's the city clerk. She'll be helping me. Got a couple employees in the room, got a couple city council people in the room. It is not a city council meeting. There are no council agenda items. So this is a chance meeting for them. But if you'd like to, I'd like to know who we're chatting with. So if you don't mind, we'll go around the room just so people can figure out who we all are. If you don't want to introduce yourself, that's fine. Just say pass. Rodney?
Rodney Church, I'm the Parks and Rec Director of the city of Lapeer.
Marty Johnson, I'm on the planning commission.
Mike Newmeyer, I'm the building official.
Marlene Swindell, city commissioner.
Bill Marquardt, I'm on the TIFA board and other stuff.
Carol Lamborn, I'm here on behalf of Kiwanis Club.
James Alt, I'm the executive director of the Lapeer Main Street DDA.
Austin Kelly, citizen of Lapeer.
Stephen Brady, city commissioner.
Josh Atwood, city commissioner.
Jeff Hogan, county press, and also on the Lapeer ZBA and DDA.
Linda Glusman, city commissioner.
Rick Crow, first half of Linda Guzman. Barry Schultz, a local attorney and former mayor.
Susan Beal, citizen.
Boris moved here 3 years ago from New Jersey. I love it here.
Welcome.
Jeanette Asentowski, citizen, business owner, building owner.
Melissa Petrie, city commissioner. I'm also on the ZBA. I live here, lived here my whole life. My grandson is the 7th generation of my family. I'm very proud of that. That's why I'm part of this. Happy to be part of it.
Halsman's, we're fairly new to Lapeer residents.
Welcome, everybody.
David and Helene.
No,
Yeah, it's funny. Once you get on one board, you kind of get stuck with being on all the other boards too, don't you? Okay.
Volunteer at the Historical Society in the.
Yeah. Okay, one of these days you're gonna have to invite me over to see it because every time I walk,
We'll back up in, I think, April this year.
okay, because every time I walk by, I'm a huge history buff, so we'll have to do that. All right, so icebreaker, just for fun. There are right answers, but there's no right or wrong answers. It's more just for fun. If you want to participate, you can. It's different than the last one, so you guys might not get these answers. All right, so I want you to imagine that you can fly into outer space, and I want you to give me some guesses as to how long you think this might take you. If you were to take a commercial airliner to the moon, flying at 500 miles per hour, how long would that take you? Mr. Brady?
15 days.
Close. Any other answers? Any other thoughts?
I've loved you.
Anyone want to guess? You get a free cookie if you get it right. How about that?
I'll guess for you, 12 days.
Anyone else? All right. The correct answer is 19.8 days. What about the planet Mars? If you were to fly an airplane at 500 miles per hour, how long would it take you to fly to Mars? I can give you the distances if you want, but okay, no using your phones. Anyone? Any guesses?
50 years.
Anyone else?
100 years.
Okay. You're on the spot on 50.9 years.
Whoa.
So free cookie for you. And then the planet Pluto. Same question, 500 miles per hour on a commercial airliner to the planet Pluto, and if it's on the same side of the sun, so the shortest distance, not the longest distance. Which I'll give you this number because it's not going to help you at all. 2.66 billion miles.
That's my guess.
500 years.
That's what I was gonna say.
We're not gonna live that long.
Well, you're going to have to take a co-pilot. So I got 500 years in the back. Anyone?
20,000 years.
20,000. Wow. Okay. We got 520,000. Anyone want to? No. Okay. 607 years. So I just got 3 more for you. Because these are more, you should be able to be better at this part. Does anyone want to guess how long 1 million seconds is? In, let's say days. 1 million seconds.
Covered this already, I'm not good at math.
13 days.
Anyone else? Pretty good guess. It's 12 days.
Nice.
What about 1 billion seconds?
1,300 days.
Okay, I got it in years, so
Oh, it's
someone will have to do the math on this one for me. But in years, how many is a billion seconds?
4.5 years.
Anyone else? 31.7 years. And then, so the easiest question, is how long is 1 trillion seconds? Come on, we gotta have at least one math person in the
Add a
room.
couple zeros to your last answer.
So there you go.
Yeah.
How many more times is a trillion from a billion? 1,000 times. So 31.7 years times 1,000 is 31,709 years. So when we talk about money and budgets and these huge dollar amounts, people don't really realize how long and how big of a number we're talking about. So thankfully, at the city level, we're only in the millions, for the total budget of everything that we do. And of course, you have to get into the US budget before you hit trillions, thank goodness. So that being said, Mr. Rodney Church runs the city's Parks and Recreation Department. And unfortunately, we had I'm assuming, destructive young people, old people, we weren't there, who destroyed one of our play structures at Crampton Park. So we're looking to replace it. And we understand that people like to have interest in the playground structures. What was the other park we just did last year? Perkins Park. So Perkins Park, we just put up a new play structure. Of course, this is all related to money and space and all sorts of things. So we do try to make the best decisions at the end with all the information we have. But I thought it might be a fun opportunity for this very small part of what we're doing, for Rodney to talk with you guys, show you what we're thinking about, and kind of get some feedback from you. Now, this is not direct democracy. We're not going to automatically go with one you choose. And we're hoping to do this also, I think, at the Recreation Center into the future as well. But I will let him give some presentation here. And then the stickers at the end, we're going to put these things up on the dais here. Then you guys can come up and vote on some of these things. Although, I don't know, 3 stickers is going to be enough. Okay, so she's got more. She might, if you're nice to her, she will give you more stickers. Mr. Church, okay, please.
All right. Thanks for coming, everyone. So basically, as Mr. Womack mentioned, we had a play structure in Crampton Park. We're talking the playground directly across from Hungry Howie's. I'm sure everyone's familiar with that. But we had a piece there, that first page on your packet. It was called the X-Wave 2, and that structure had some damage to it. It looked to be like someone maybe cut this plastic pieces that connect it together. And then it has some wear and tear on it as well. I was doing some research trying to figure out, hey, can we get some parts to replace this? Because the majority of the structure was fine. Come to find out, the X-Wave 2, which was what the piece was called, is no longer in operation. And then further research found that the company that makes it is no longer in business. So we made the decision to remove it. That happened late summer, early fall. So we removed the structure, which you can see the first picture in your packet. That's what the X-Wave looked like, kind of like a teeter-totter, just a modern day version of that. So Mr. Womack and our Parks Department, we've been discussing replacement part for that. You know, we don't gotta replace the other structures in the playground, but right now we kind of got a nice space just kind of sitting there. It looks weird with no play structure there. So for those of you that are familiar with playgrounds, I'm sure Kara and the Kiwanis Club are very familiar with the amount of pieces and structures that you can get. You know, we talked to a couple companies that we've worked with in the past. Hey, you know, we're looking to replace, you know, this X-Wave with something similar to what was there that could fit in that space, because when you deal with playgrounds, there's regulations on, you know, the fall zones, and, you know, we couldn't put a slide there, is what I'm getting at. You know, there has to be specific restrictions on how big the piece is and how much area is around it. So if a kid were to fall, they're not gonna run into someone else. With that in mind, you know, we got a list of like 50 different items, you know, and my department and we went through and kind of narrowed it down to 5 in here. So all 5 of these pieces that I got included in here will fit in the existing area. I'll just kind of go through them. The first page is called an NRG floating ladder. Now the pictures up here are in color. They're a little bit easier to read or to see, but it's basically just 4 poles with a rope ladder that kind of sways, and they walk across it. The second page is called a sway net. Another climbing type structure that would fit in that area. Pretty simple process, 4 or 5 poles. The prices are included in there as well. Third thing is the hoop alley, which is pretty unique. We don't really have any of these things in any of our parks. We have similar type stuff, but nothing exactly like any of these things. But you know, every playground has a climbing structure, a slide, all that kind of stuff. So the third one, like I said, is a hoop alley, a little different, and unique. The fourth one is that seesaw snake, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like a teeter-totter, just a modern day version of the old school ones. And the last one is that web crawler. Real simple, one pole that's bent in half and a bit of web connecting it. So those are pretty much our options. Like I mentioned, Mr. Womack mentioned, we have pictures up here. We're going to vote on what you think the best option would be for that area. As you can see, play equipment is very expensive. You don't get a lot for your money. These are, they're all pretty similar pricing, but you can imagine you put 3 or 4 of these in a playground setting, how much a playground costs. So this is, I think this would be a nice addition to that area, whatever option we choose. But it'd be nice to get some feedback on that. Other than that,
I got a question.
Yep.
Are any of these like, I don't want to say vandal proof, but vandal resistant?
I don't think you make anything vandal resistant. The nice thing about it is,
Stuff that can't be.
the nice thing about it is a lot of these, a lot of them are plastic. They're going to like a plastic type material, which is very easy to, ping over, or we have graffiti remover that we can brush off. Obviously these rope features, I guess anyone could go out there and cut it. The nice thing about it is, I don't think it'd be expensive to get a new ladder if we needed to, a rope ladder.
Right.
But
I'm just curious.
unfortunately, all the cool stuff is definitely attracts graffiti, and it happens regularly, and we go out and take care of it. So, yeah.
On the floating ladder, I look at that and I think that's a broken arm right there.
Right.
Really thought to, for something like that, maybe would be more hazardous than it appears to be.
Yeah, and I think kids can find a way to hurt themselves on anything. Luckily, these companies aren't going to sell stuff that hasn't been tested and rated, and luckily, and you have to have special safety surfacing. It just looks like wood chips to most of us, but it's special graded wood chips. You have to have a certain, depth of safety surface. And really that distance is maybe like, 8 to 10 inches. I mean, it's not not a big fall zone, but that's a great question. These people that are much smarter than me that design these, they have to weigh all those kind of things.
I think falls and choking are the 2 greatest
Yeah.
problems, and a fall of 1.5 foot into wood chips is not.
Right, exactly.
I hate to do this because I always feel like I'm like 3 steps behind, but I was at that same park across the river last summer, and there was these 20-ish-year-old guys. They had strung a slack line between 2 trees. So they're doing the same concept as the kids, but obviously unregulated.
Were they
They're
like tightrope in it or something?
It's like a tightrope,
Yeah.
yeah, but it sways back and
Yeah.
forth. I've done something similar
Yeah.
before, but this is why I don't like doing this, because is there any options like that might be something that's a little bit more up to date or on the edge of some of the recreational things that
Kids are doing.
kids are doing anyway?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, these are 5 options of a million options. We got catalogs sent to us from one company, and it literally had like 50 options in there.
Is there rules that say you have to get something from a certified playground producer?
I'm pretty sure with our, playground inspection certifications that we have, we can't just go to Home Depot and buy a playground and throw it in our in our parks. I don't really know the legalities on that, but I don't think we would ever want to get the business of purchasing a piece of equipment that's not through the proper.
So a part of the price might be because you're getting that assurance.
Yeah.
That, hey, this has gone
Correct.
through.
And that's why, when we tear down an old structure, we get comments from people, well, why don't you donate that? Or so we can't do that. There's a reason why we're tearing stuff out, because it's either we can't get pieces for it, or maybe it's in this instance, the park doesn't exist no more. They don't even make them. So we gotta be careful on that kind of stuff when it comes to playgrounds.
Are any of our parks specific to an age level?
Well, all of our parks and playgrounds, except for Perkins Park, they have certain structures. Like, okay, they usually say like the small structures for like 2 to 5-year-olds, and then the medium size might be like 6 to 12-year-olds. So a well-built park, a playground, would have features for all the age demographics.
And you said Perkins only has one age group?
Yeah, it's 5 to the Perkins one, the climbing wooden structure, that's 5 to 12-year-olds. Now, obviously, we don't have monitors out there, and if a parent wants to put a 2-year-old on it, I'm sure they're there watching them. But, you can't really control what kids do. Kids climb up on top of the roof of the slides, which, it's not intended to do that. But yeah, so definitely there is requirements for different structures, different playscapes in the playground.
Do they have any data on each of these in which, like, they've observed that maybe one item was more liked by kids and played with more than the others?
I'm sure there probably is data on that. When they give you the information, they don't really give you all that kind of stuff.
And that differs from town to town, from
Right.
state to state, from country to
I'm
country.
sure,
That's gonna differ. Kids that like things here and here and they think it's great, you put it in the city, and they're like, not so much.
Right. But yeah, I
Kids
mean,
aren't fickle. What are you
I'm sure there's data
Right,
out
not
there
at
on
all.
that. I don't really have that information.
So some look more interesting to me than. the
Oh, yeah, I
others.
agree.
That's why
I totally
said
agree.
that. Okay.
So all these, you mentioned that there's age appropriate in each of these parks, so this one that you're tearing out, these are the same age appropriate
Yes.
5 that you're showing us
Yes.
here.
Yep.
The same equivalent.
Yeah, I
same-
tried to include pictures that had kids on them, so you could see the.
Yeah, I was just comparing.
Some of them have
what you
kids on
tore
them.
out.
Yeah. Like, I would say these climbing features are more the 5 to 12-year-olds, 6 to 12-year-olds. I forget the breakdown on it. I think it's 6 to 12. I think the climbing tech features are more for older kids, and then like the smaller ones, like would be more for the I should say more for the younger ones, but more age appropriate for like the 2 to 5-year-olds.
And the web crawler, that's sturdy, that's not rope, correct?
It's rope.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, but you can see like in the hoop alley, those it's connected into the ground with some anchors. So it's not like that could be. I mean, I'm sure it could be pulled up, but they're anchored into the ground.
I think
think that when you do this at the rec center, you should invite children and have them put their stickers on there, because we're all great, but we're old, and we're
Yeah.
not going to play on this equipment,
Right.
and we have no idea what kids like. Even if you
Right.
have your own small children, you have no idea what they like,
Right.
so we should ask.
Yeah, it'd be nice if these companies would let us set one up free for 6 months, and then, if we like it, great. If not, bring us a new one.
Nope, that's great feedback, and this is, so we did talk about this ahead of time, about setting up a display at the rec center to invite kids at the rec center to look at them and give feedback as well.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or questions, concerns for Mr. Church? Okay, so after I do my little bit, he's got why don't you show the board?
Okay.
He's got a board up here, where he's gonna ask you to kind of vote.
Has the
on-
name and the cost and
on
a
just
color
what your thoughts
picture.
are. And since I've got 4 of my own, we might need to give people another 2 stickers if you want. So I'm sure the clerk is loving me right now if I tell her that did.
They can have 3 because they come in things. of-
Okay, she says you get 3, so it looks like you're getting to vote on a lot of stuff today. Actually, Bradley, can you do the stickers real quick?
Yeah.
She's gonna have to help me out here with the next part. Okay, so, this is a little bit more interactive, as I kick things that are new. Yes, so, again, I'm fairly new to town, I haven't lived here my whole life, and they keep me chained to my desk in my office most of the day. So I'm now out and about as much as I'd like to be. So I really do truly rely on the public to call me up and say, hey, I've got this issue, or I saw this thing, or whatever. And, part of what we're doing today is this should not be, in my opinion, a community of people who are shy to tell us what the issues are. We can't resolve issues we don't know about. So we do have a good idea on a lot of things, but just yesterday we had a citizen call us up and tell us about an issue. We immediately resolved it. So I love that type of thing, I really do.
They didn't go straight to Facebook and not call you?
Surprisingly, we don't run the city according to Facebook, despite what the Lapeer News and Discussion page might think. We do not go on there to resolve issues. So if you want an issue resolved, please call us up at City Hall, send us an email, whatever you think, but don't put it on Facebook if you want it resolved. So, that being said, we're getting into budget season here at the city, and obviously budgets solve problems. And again, we have a pretty good idea about some things, but we'd like feedback. So first thing I have on the agenda here is roads. Everybody loves the roads in the city, right? They're all the best roads you've ever seen, ever. Nobody has any issues with any of the roads, right?
21's really nice.
With what?
The new part of 21's really nice.
Good, thank you, because while we were doing it, we got lots of complaints about how long it was taking.
Actually, really like the turn.
So that project, by the way, $4 million, which I don't know how long that takes in seconds per days, but it's a lot of money.
Names and, but.
So we
more permanent raised things for manholes.
Yes, so the concrete collars, that was me. I did that. I'll pat myself a little bit on the back there. But water main, sewer main, all sorts of stuff goes into projects like that. So, first thing I want to ask, and this is interactive, so feel free to shout out, but not, rudely. What roads do you think need to be worked on?
Court Street between McCormick and, I don't know what the first road is, north of McCormick.
I don't know that street, but I'm sure everybody else here does, right? Okay.
What was it?
Court Street between McCormick and Elm is what I'm hearing. I'm gonna take your word for it. And of course, after this, I'm gonna go out and drive
It
these
does
cities.
need to be,
Okay.
yeah, it's bad.
This is Debbie Marquardt, the mayor, who's arrived late.
Isn't Mason Street very bad too?
Well, I'm asking you. So
I just drove in on Mason Street.
Mason Street where?
Right over there.
Which is, I don't know.
One street east.
Okay, anyone can help me with the crossroads?
That one's bad.
Right here.
All our problem up here.
Mason and Clay.
Or not Clay.
So this young lady's writing down as you say them.
I heard parking something.
Mason.
That's
So
the
Mason
street.
Street. Mason
Between-
Street runs north and south, yeah. From Nipissing all the way up.
Up to 20.
Okay, what else?
About Clark Street in front of the old Grove building.
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's not about- no. Up to Palm.
Law Street,
From which street?
Law, from 24 to Mason, maybe?
Second Street, First Street on, from Adams or Jefferson all the way to Lincoln.
How far do you, are you doing?
24 to what?
Well, only city streets. I only represent the city.
We
So,
were on Washburn today and oh.
so somebody actually,
And second.
contacted me not that long ago.
Second Street.
They wanted me to fix a street, and I looked up the street because I'm not from here. And the street is about 15 miles north of the city. And I'm like, I don't have jurisdiction up there. So, yeah, city streets only, please. What else? Come on. Every street I hear is the worst in the universe, so we can't have just 4 or 5.
Fine from Oregon Park.
I appreciate that answer, but we already got that on the agenda to be fixed, so that'll be easy.
Yeah, because my private street doesn't get plowed.
Well, we're not fixing your private street either.
Dang.
What about the manholes how they're sunken on South 24 and the slow lane, like in front of like McDonald's and the Home Depot?
So I don't have my DPW guy here, but what I'll tell you, first of all, is that's not really a city road. That's MDOT road.
Right,
But you saw what we did on Genesee,
absolutely.
and the goal is to eventually replace those with the concrete collar ones.
Sure.
So I don't know exactly what the process is doing that with MDOT, but definitely something we're going to do.
Actually, those manholes are designed to be raised up.
Yeah, so
They're telescoping, so you can raise them up and wedge them with asphalt. That's how they're designed.
See, I said it at desk all day. This guy knows what he's talking about, bro.
I just talked to Ross about it, and he said you're gonna core them, but he didn't know about the telescoping nature of them, so I don't know what he's gonna do.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, what we're talking about here is issues to resolve. I don't know how we're gonna resolve all of them, but if it's an issue, I'd like to hear about it. So, you know, we're talking about concrete collars, we're talking about roads that need to be resurfaced.
Am I supposed to be writing down concrete colors?
Sure, why not?
This is signage, like, so I don't know.
No, just road surfaces for right now.
Well, it's a sign on the road, but.
Okay. I don't know if you want to put it here under other issues and concerns. Maybe other issues and concerns. Other roads, come on, worst roads in the universe.
East Street,
Where?
East Street,
What,
might as well say West Street too.
okay, where are those at?
It's, behind E.G. Nick's,
Okay.
and then,
I think we just put some new asphalt down there. Maybe not EG next, but further down.
You mean on the other side too, like where Culver's is at?
Yes.
Yeah.
That road, okay.
Yeah.
So it's both of those.
comes, yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Yeah, see me neither. Okay,
Park
anyone?
Street or Park Street?
Park Street, somebody want to admit to Park Street?
Park Street, that was on the books at one time.
Yeah. It's,
Toro has all these like gaps, or not gaps, but like, I don't know, like the road is sunk. Like from Toro Elementary to,
Is that a result of the water line replacement program,
I
or
don't know, but every few feet it's like, boom, boom.
are these like patches?
I don't know if it's the road.
I think it's.
When it was built, it was like in sections and it's, so it's kind of real bumpy all the whole length of it.
So, Turl, I
Toro
guess.
from 24 to Saginaw.
See, she's faster than I am.
I'll give you an easy one. Right at the end of the new construction on 21 on the old part by Harrison Road, there's like a 3-foot gouge. You can feel it if you ride over it. Like a scrape going perpendicular to the road.
Okay. I wonder if that was a water line replacement or some kind.
So that's Genesee Street? you said?
Genesee, yeah.
Yeah, between
Going
Harrison
east.
and 24.
Eastbound.
Right before you get on, going
Before the
west,
new
right
section.
before you get onto the new stuff, 10 feet before you get to it.
Did anybody say Pine Street?
I would also, I don't know.
Pine Street is already said, yeah.
Just a concern for the future
Yeah.
is the new road, the new Genesee Road with the late paving. I'd like, you know, it's brand new now, but
See,
how long will it
You're
last?
thinking about problems that don't even exist yet. I'm talking about problems that can resolve right now. Also, man, brand new road. Don't be upset about it. Sheesh.
It just went down cold. I'm just a little A little
Okay.
concerned.
Anybody else? Anyone else? Okay, I guess we're wrapped up for roads. Good, because I gotta get home at some point. What?
So there's another, I think there's another Pine Street, and then there's a cross street behind LA Auto. I don't know the name of that street, those two are pretty bad.
Howard, Hope Street.
The road behind LA Auto? Is that what you wanted to write?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not, I don't see it on the map.
It's Polk Street.
Pope, yeah.
That neighborhood in general, that all there's Polk Street, between court and all that.
Pope, P-O-P, like the Pope.
I'd like to add one, because I was up at the Autobahn Park up there.
Yeah.
On a road by the name of Mockingbird or Mockingjay Road. Horrible road. Please add that one if you guys haven't had a chance to go up there.
What is it, Mockingbird?
Mockingbird, something, just put Mockingbird.
Yeah, it's Mockingbird.
I think he's thinking.
Which I don't anticipate I'll get any votes because I'm the one who came up with it, but after this meeting, go drive up there and see what I'm talking about.
Where's that at?
It's up by Audubon Park. Well, Google Audubon Park if you haven't been there. It's a cute little park, nice little walking trail on it. But some of the roads out there are really bad. All right, so we're done with roads? All right. All right, so we're gonna go with parking lots. So I believe the city has something like 9 numbered parking lots. And obviously something that is correlated with roads. Again, I hear we have the worst parking lots in the universe. I don't think that's true because my former community just said the same exact thing. But please tell me, which parking lots do you think are?
That one right there.
I haven't stopped talking yet, young lady.
You said you didn't have
Tough
one. I was
crowd.
trying to hurry you up.
So the parking lots, I'd like to know which parking lots you guys want us to work on. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the worst parking lots, although that's probably going to factor in. We also have very heavily used parking lots versus less used parking lots.
Yeah, the one on Park Street, right behind Blend and Hall of Frames and.
Okay, I don't know what the number is, but
Marty, what number is that?
I don't know.
so is that the one behind the businesses on Nipissing Street?
Yeah.
Where the carnival is. that's
Yeah.
all.
That is parking lot number 5. I know that
Yeah,
one
I know
because,
that one.
Every year,
That one's already on the CIP.
yeah, they're both on the CIP.
every year, the Lapeer Optimist, I believe, they come and drill more holes for their tent. So I mean, if something, I know it's a great event.
A couple years ago, they put permanent holes in for the tents.
It raises a lot of money, so it would be great to have some kind of permanent or semi-permanent solution.
Yeah, they did that 2 years ago.
Yep. So just as an ad lib a little bit, when we were talking about parking lot number 5, one down by Choice One Bank, I talked to the chamber because they're the ones who put on the carnival, right? And we talked about, do we want to, when we eventually fix it, install permanent cleat anchors in there for them? But there's other problems. Keeping in mind that even though we already know these parking lots, right? They're big major parking lots here, so it's not easy, it's not cheap. There's usually other problems. So we're definitely working on both of those. Something about the parking lot back behind Nipissing is the dumpsters. And of course, I wasn't here, I just got here, so I don't know how that all happened, but in most communities, when you allow businesses to have dumpsters, you require them to go into dumpster enclosures. I forget which business it is, but there's a business that has their dumpster right up next to the sidewalk. And I like to walk my dog in the community, and there's broken glass around the dumpster all the time.
All the time, and then there's also their grease trap, and it usually will have not usually, but oftentimes the lid to the grease bin, because you can tell the difference between a trash bin and their grease bin.
Sure.
That'll be on the ground. I've called a couple of times to ask the company to come, because I don't know whose bin it is either.
Yeah, and also apparently the city used to have paid parking meters. Well, so you got that issue. You also have the issue, and this is like very progressive, forward-thinking kind of thing, but that parking lot in particular, the one north of Nipissing, should be focused on drawing people out of the parking lot onto the front sidewalk of Nipissing. And if you go and you stand in that parking lot and you don't know the city, you're gonna just look at the back of the businesses and you're gonna say, I don't know where to walk to go to the front of the business, right? That's another thing we have to resolve there. But are we gonna be trying to do both of these parking lots at the same time? One this year, one another year, so all on the side. So other parking lots. What other,
Center building,
sorry,
the center building.
center building parking lot. So interesting issue there. I'm not entirely sure we own the parking lot there.
We don't, not our, well, kind of we do, but it's not our real house. It's in their contract. I can forward it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, there's
Their
also,
contracts,
there's also
so-
questions about how long that building's gonna be used before it's torn down, so why invest a huge amount of money to fix it? But, no, it's a bad parking lot, I agree. There's,
I don't know, but I was just at one, I went to get it, put in the planning building down there on, with North Saginaw. They're inside,
oh, road planning? Because they're a private company.
they're in the apartments there on the,
Oh, Riverview.
yeah, on the river towers.
Okay,
So I don't know if that's their little parking lot for them, or they just have their own little circle there,
Mhm.
but I mean.
Is it in bad shape?
I think it's dirt or, you know, but to get in, you know, it's just,
The building just north of the Riverview Tower.
no, but they're inside river planning and, what's it called?
Is it between there and the
Yeah. They share a parking lot with, but anyways, I almost got hit, you know, because you go in.
Is it the width of the driveway? What's the issue?
Well, I don't even know if that's where you, where do I go? Planning and develop, what is that?
The housing?
Housing, yes, housing commission, thank you. Because when there's a side parking lot and then they're like in the river.
Yeah.
They're in the apartments, so I don't know if you park up there or you park down here, but there's a walkway for people to go into the park down there. I guess there's a park down there, and you can't, it's just a tight, you know, there's no direction there. I don't know if that's, can be fixed by redoing that or.
So signage, asphalt painting, what are you proposing?
Direction. 'Cause there's no like, because two people can't go like both
Sure.
this way.
So maybe make it a one-way?
I guess, or what, you know, just a direction, yeah, there's like two to go in and one to go out, or, you know, it was just weird, I almost got, I've been there twice, and you know, cars just pulling out, digging that.
No, you're absolutely right.
The marking on the very far one, like, you can't really, a truck parked there, so when I came back around this way, I mean, I barely had enough room to go back around them, but it wasn't a parking spot, but nothing's like, I guess, lined or something.
That's one of the things I've asked the Department of Public Works to work on for the spring is painting all the lines, all the arrows, the parking lines, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because you're right, when we don't have good signage, people tend to do what they want to do.
Yeah, if it's even the city's parking lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. My housing department's not here today, but, you know, again, this is one of those things where I go through there and I feel comfortable, but tomorrow I'm gonna go through there again and say, you know what? Yeah, I can see how this is a tight fit.
I think it's caught my attention just because that's like, oh, you get to the park right there, you know, at the same time, you know, I have a truck too, you know, so I'm trying to make, you know, the truck wasn't there when I went this way to park in the parking lot. And I turned
Some of the
this
stuff
way.
is actually really simple to resolve because you just take one parking space and you eliminate it. Now you have better vision, you have better turning
Yeah,
radius.
yeah.
But, you know, just like everything else in the world, then it's gonna be, well, I needed one additional parking space and there wasn't a parking space there today, right?
Well, and you can't drop it below our zoning requirements either.
Well, so we'd have to look at that as well. See,
Right.
you're causing me all sorts of.
Well, and you
Thank
know,
you.
you can't be like, well, I don't like that parking spot, so I'm gonna take it away, and now the building doesn't have the proper amount of spaces for what we have, and then we ask other businesses that they have to, but we're taking away of our own.
Okay, thank you for that input, appreciate it. Other parking lots, other,
What number parking lot is by Farmers Market?
so.
That's the one.
Yeah, so the farmer's market it's called 5, it's also called the Choice One Bank parking lot.
Okay.
We've got the numbers for all of them, and I'll have to dig that out and send it to everybody, but, yeah, so the problem there is that the whole thing's a floodplain. So, the ground underneath it is wet, and we got wet ground underneath, you get potholes galore, and so you can spend $10 bajillion out there, and within 2 or 3 years, it's gonna be modeled and potholed again. That, plus you put all those really heavy carnival rides out there, so we're actively working on that, and I think we've got a meeting tomorrow on that issue, so.
I'm not sure if this is relevant, but I've come across this idea called grass pave, and the idea is you have a mesh which allows you to put some sand on top, and it is strong enough to support traffic, but it allows grass to grow, and all the water that comes in doesn't need to run off into anywhere. I don't know what will cause the problems you're describing in this parking lot, but perhaps there could be a way, if runoff water is what's causing some of the
Yes.
erosion or something.
Yep, so one of the things we're talking about with there is adding a wider green space. So there's a creek, I don't know if you're familiar with the parking lot. There's a creek that runs through it. By adding a green space in between the creek and the parking lot, now some of that water runoff is going to get filtered before going into the creek. But part of the issue there is we've got a festival that likes to put these heavy rides out there, and they don't want to do it on the grass. So there's some political considerations here as well. Other parking lots, come on.
I'm a little biased here, but Crampton Park, both sides.
Yeah.
Parking lot, Roden Park, parking lot.
And what specifically about these parking lots?
They're just in rough shape.
Are they in rough shape, or do they not have their lines painted?
Both.
They're visibly, like the asphalt is visibly aging.
Yeah. And Crampton Park partially is going to be hopefully this spring.
Behind Chatfield School, the parking lot's in great shape, it's just really small. Those kids get a lot of use for it with mountain bikes.
Yep. So again, I don't mean to ad-lib because we all want to go home, but we're talking about a pump track. And one of the things we keep talking about is potentially adding a driveway off the mill on the south side of that, and then adding a parking lot on the south side, which would be closer to that area. So it'd be easier access, but it's obviously more expensive. So. Any other parking lots? Anything? Painted lines, model asphalt, too small, too big?
Do you know how many spaces are at Roden right now?
Roden, I don't. I do know that we're gonna get a parking study tomorrow, which will tell us all sorts of stuff. I don't know if it'll tell us Roden specifically, but I think that the whole city is 900 something parking spaces.
I'm just thinking down the road.
Send me an email tomorrow, I'll help you out.
Might need more.
Okay, parking lot's done? All right. Next one's parks. You guys all got the agenda, so you're all geared up and ready to tell me about parks, right? It was so bad that a city commissioner walked out on me.
Sorry, I got basketball practice. for my fifth grader.
We'll see you. Thank you, Stefan. All right, parks. I'm gonna spend $50,000 to get that thing. All right, parks. So,
Spend 10 million and you'll get a whole new building.
yeah, we're gonna work on that too.
Since she started working here, she's been saying that.
So, be nice about parks, because we have the director in the room, but, do you take your kids to the parks? Do we need new play structures somewhere? Or do we have a park that needs better sidewalks? Tell me about the parks. What do we need to improve?
We need to get,
It's not about the parks that are now, but where the old high school was, the old white junior high
yeah.
school. I live close to that, like real close to that. I've been talking to the other neighbors. And it'd be kind of nice to have that'd make a really nice big park for the city and stuff, because there's buildings coming in, or areas to park in full spots, just throwing that out there. And it's kind of last I heard, we didn't really get any kind of inquiry on feelers put out there for development.
So you're breaking my heart just a little bit, because I'm actively working on that right now. Because
I live close to that, I'd rather not see any building.
yeah, nobody wants, other houses to be built in their backyard.
it's for sale, you can buy it.
Yeah.
Well,
for sale.
it's not the house,
We'll give you the dollar you bought it for.
it's not the houses, it's more of putting up multi-story apartments and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that happened to us down in Indiana before we moved.
Yeah.
They
So,
built some monsters right out there.
so for what it's worth, I think the original problem with the original RFQ was it tried to intermix residential with commercial. Most
Right,
developers
like
don't do both.
building.
They do one or the other. So the RFQ that I'm preparing is all residential and will not involve multifamily units like that. At least what I'm proposing is single, double, triple, quad, which we have a ton of the quadplex type condos here in this community. They look like single family homes.
Right.
So that's at least what's being proposed in that RFQ.
when you have a meeting on that, where specifically, like, is there a meeting, is there a public meeting for that type of?
So those public meetings were all done years ago.
Right.
Wasn't planning on a public meeting for the new one. It's gonna be presented to the city commission at a public meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Parks, you don't get to pick.
Pathway rehab.
How much money we spent on park pathway rehab this year?
Didn't you get this park grant transfer already?
For one,
Oh, God.
Ms. Wendell, you had your hand up.
Second is golf course. We got the money, let's do it this year.
Do you have a particular place in mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oakdale Trails.
Okay.
I've
Not,
heard,
not the Kiwanis one.
yeah, everybody's excited about that. I don't need to talk about that, but, I've heard a lot of people wanting pickleball. Is that?
Oh, yeah.
At Crampton?
Oh, yeah, they may as well be their own little cult.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. So yes, I believe the tennis courts at Crampton Park are being converted. When I get that new city hall, we'll have some space probably indoor for a pickleball court. But while I got you, why don't you tell the people who are not part of, the city about your program?
Oh, my God.
Briefly.
We wanted to go home
It's really
today,
hard to
Mike.
talk briefly about it, but, so we're currently raising money to put in an inclusive, accessible playground at Roden Park where the existing tennis courts are. It's about, right now our plan is about 25,000 square foot, which is about $1.5 million. It includes rubber surfacing, which is about $500,000 alone just for the flooring. We're working with 6 different playground companies right now to try to bring those costs down. Right now, we have raised $250,000, so we have a ways to go. Waiting to hear back on a couple of grants right now. Working with the city, hopefully on grant through the DNR, but we'll get there. It just might take a little bit of time, but we're really hopeful for 2025 installation is our goal. We've gotten some good support from the community already, but we've got a ways to go. But the features of the playground are awesome, and they're for everybody. They're not just for someone with a disability, they're for everyone, in all ages. And it could be, a parent with a disability that right now has difficulty taking their child to a playground. They can then bring their children to a playground too. Pretty exciting stuff.
Okay.
Any questions?
So let me add one first and we'll get to you. So I'm still a big kid at heart. And so I was at the playground in Westland, the brand new one in Westland, and they had these zip lines. They're kind of like a hold and then you run and zip across. I enjoyed the crap out of those. So I'd like to see zip lines added to one of our parks.
That is in the plan for the inclusive playground, and Choice Home Bank is already sponsored.
See, already beat me to the punch.
But we could have 2.
Go ahead, Karen, I'm sorry.
Oh, here.
Make sure one is an adult size, not like on my new size.
Speaking of Roden Park, the linear path around that, is there any plan on repaving or resurfacing that anytime soon? Because I know that is getting really.
This spring.
This spring?
Yep, we got a grant to cover that.
Which, don't tell him that, so that he'll think that we did it just because he's
Right,
so.
exactly.
All right, because it's a beautiful park, and I know that's another one that gets used.
Yes, you hold on.
So that's awesome.
Okay, anyone else before Mark? Yeah, see, you're second. Go ahead.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Oh,
I just wanted to ask, you said you were converting a set of tennis courts into pickleball?
Well, that gentleman over there is, but yes,
Right, so you guys are converting some tennis courts into pickleball courts.
I believe so, yes.
And so is there gonna be any tennis courts? Or there's just gonna be no tennis courts?
Yeah, the preliminary plan would be to keep a couple tennis courts along with additional pickleball courts in the same footprint. Right now, there's 3 tennis courts. If we can expand the footprint a little bit, we'd have room to make potentially 2 tennis, maybe up to 4 pickleball courts.
Awesome, thank you, Rodney.
Kind of like a dual purpose.
Yeah.
Rodney, isn't it, what the courts, are the Optimus courts open to public as well?
Yes.
Correct?
Yep, the tennis courts at CFI campus, those are open for anyone to use.
There's a pickleball court just down the way from where I'm living right now, and on a Sunday morning, there's like 150 people there. It's crazy how popular pickleball is.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
And I like tennis, I do. So I'd like to keep a few tennis courts around myself, but yeah. Pickleball is the way to go. All right, anything else for parks? Anyone other than Marlena? Okay, Miss Wendell, what else you got?
Cops on bikes.
Cops on bikes.
To patrol the parks we have. We have wonderful parks and we have wonderful trails in the city of Lapeer, and I love and use all of them, but they need to be patrolled, and we need police officers on bikes.
How about city managers on bikes?
I mean,
Because I would happily
we
do
have you
that.
chained to your desk, remember?
Yes, you do.
So, no,
Used to have them.
I know.
I look very good in bike shorts.
Dave said,
Tight
I'm not
spandex
taking
bike
money out of my budget for
You
that.
still got the bikes in
Oh, yeah, real nice bikes.
So, Mike, just on that point, I did talk to Chief Frisch before he retired on that, when we got ready to open the bike shop. We're more than willing to service or help with that in any way, because that was one of the topics that I had brought up through Crank for a Cause, is we need more patrol for sure in the evenings. I've heard more often than not, young ladies that would like to run have stopped running in certain areas on the lineal pathways in lieu of feeling extremely safe or not. Okay, so I had mentioned that before, so I'm still willing 100% to help in any way to keep bikes on the go and keep up and running.
So again, keep in mind, it's not like we're not aware of some of these issues, but they're hard to resolve. It is not against the law to exist as a human being in a park. And so I know what you're talking about, right? I understand that there's a homeless issue, I understand that there's drug issues, but if you're just a human in a park, we can't arrest you for it.
Except if you're loitering and you're doing drugs.
Well, and so,
Because that's what.
so,
I think that's what they're talking about.
so what is loitering? Existing in a
Well,
park.
but I mean, that's what they're talking about, safety, so it's not like they're saying,
If somebody is being
Unless someone
unsafe or threatening you or causing problems,
yeah, I think that's what they were.
that's illegal.
Yeah.
But we gotta have it reported to the police, and then we'll happily do something about it.
Right.
So, that's the main issue there. It's not illegal to be a human in a park.
No, no one said that.
I would like to see the bar raised on the aesthetics of the park. Maybe more trees, more a pollinator garden, more natural, organic things, and just bump it up a bit. I know it means more work in the long run,
I'll
but
say,
I'd like to
I love
see
it, I do, tons of work.
But I'd like to see the parks more beautiful.
Okay. Anything else? Jeff, looking good.
Oh, well, I was gonna start to say trees too. I was thinking more like the one over there by the sewage plant. That path, there's like pictures, like nothing along there. Just to kind of green it up a little bit, some trees along there, that pathway. And maybe some low density lighting on the Oakdale path too. Is there lighting?
Okay, I'd like to add one. before we
Add to
close
that
it out.
security. I mean,
Pedestrian crossing, safe crossing. So you guys probably saw on Genesee Street, we added 2 new pedestrian crossings. I believe we're gonna have those blinky lights in the spring installed. But there's a few places where we don't have stuff like that, where the ground is not painted with. So the old standard was just these 2 4-inch lines that went across the street. I changed that to where now we're using, I think it's called ladder, where it's now 4 inches on both sides, plus the little, it looks like a ladder. But I'd like to see more of that. We'd like to have somebody go through all these parks and say, well, if I cross a road, it has to be marked in some way. Because that's one of my biggest fears is some kid going down the street, and a car coming down the other way doesn't see him and hits him, right? So, all right, I guess we're done with parks.
Yes.
We are 1 hour in. Staff would like to go home through the room, I'm sure. But we got one more. If I don't screw this up too good. And that is other issues and concerns. So I believe we had one over here, other issues and
It was
concerns.
me, so the new work that you guys did on the city, or whoever did on the Genesee Street.
Yep.
If you're going eastbound, you don't see Harrison and Lincoln Street, they're not marked anymore.
There's huge signs.
Correct, but that's going westbound,
What do you mean they're not marked?
they're not marked.
Like the street itself?
Yeah, so you know.
So it's a street
you used
sign
to
issue?
have a post with a four-way, so it would say Genesee and Lincoln.
Yeah.
Now it's just one large sign that says Lincoln Street. But going eastbound is not, or westbound, I'm sorry, westbound,
Okay.
it's not marked.
I wonder if that was a temporary issue, like they just took it down, because as somebody else pointed out, we fish it really late.
Yeah,
And sometimes it's hard to break up in the ground and stuff, install stuff like that during the winter.
and if you have a chance to go drive by there, you'll see what
I
I'm saying.
will, I'll be driving around a lot tomorrow.
I'm sorry, tell me again.
It was Lincoln and Harrison Streets on 21. They're only marked going one way.
Got a big bucket over there.
I'm about to say an orange cone, that's what I meant. All right,
I know you've talked about it, but just to get them out there on the list. So other issues, concerns, EV charging station.
by the way, he gives me heart palpitations every time he looks at that thing, because I feel like I'm being on the record. Of course, I know I'm on the record, but.
And I know Jim and we talked to DDA, I still think it's, we need traffic control signals, the pedestrian crossings, like especially Court and Nipissing.
Court and Nipissing.
You know, everyone's looking up
Like
the
charging
streets,
stations, what do you want now?
the, you know, like Cross Now,
Pedestrian crossing?
pedestrian crossing sign.
So actually, just as an aside, discovered that they have pole mountable EV charging stations. So one of the biggest problems with EV charging stations is normally you gotta break up the concrete and the asphalt in the parking lot to run your lines, right? That's expensive. But if you find the right power poles, you can literally mount it to the pole itself. And so now you don't have the ADA compliance issues, you don't have to break up the concrete. We're researching that. Yeah. What else? Other issues, concerns?
But, one of the things that we talked about last evening, is in something that I really would like to see is we have the trail system, right? And the awesome new bike lane, it's awesome, we've never had that.
I'm happy to hear that because everyone else was poo-pooing it.
Hey, it's there, it was never there before, now we can at least ride on the eastbound lane and not have to go on the north side of the sidewalk, because as far as I know, the city ordinances, you're not supposed to ride a bike on the sidewalk, right?
Illegal, yep.
So,
No,
anyway, yeah, appreciate the bike lane that is now there. What my biggest thing is the downtown district area, we're getting more and more out of town, activities, riders using the trails, hiking the pathways, but there's nowhere for them to leave those parking lots and give direction to the downtown district or to the M24 corridor, because a lot of them are coming from I-69. So I think that is there some sort of way that we can, you've got, like along I-69, you've got these restaurants 0.5 miles this way. You see what I'm?
So part of the issue is, again, is MDOT controls a lot of that. Now, I know there is a program for the restaurants to go to MDOT and say, hey, I'd like a sign at the exit saying half mile this way to the downtown, whatever. Largely, cities are not involved in that. That's a restaurant to MDOT thing. But as far as wayfinding signage, I got a guy right over here who is working on wayfinding signage, so you might want to have that
That's in
conversation.
town or only downtown?
Well, so
I just think we're losing a lot of the possible downtown district business from these people coming in and using the parks.
So to answer Ms. Swindell's question, we're trying to set a standard for colors, shapes, size for the signage, so that eventually it can expand outside the downtown. So
And when the downtown restroom, public restroom.
downtown restroom.
Yeah, then they don't have to go out behind my house. I swear to God, I've dealt with half a dozen people this year.
You know, I had a wayfinding sign set to go to your house, so we're gonna have to get rid of that one. Again, just like everything else in the world, we know these are issues, they cause their own problems, and permanent outdoor toilet systems are incredibly expensive. We had a $1 we were looking at in the other community, and I think it was something like $250,000 all told. So expensive. Put it right on the courthouse lawn, they'll love it.
But in the courthouse, excuse me, in the courthouse building, community, Jim would know what I'm referring to. That door that has been unlocked in the past, Jim, with the bathroom.
Yeah. the
Isn't
lower
there a
level.
way to with little to no cost, build out some kind of separation between any accessible doors where the public can just go in that one door, go right to the bathroom. It's literally a box.
You're talking about the old county courthouse?
That's
Yeah.
So the biggest issue there is it's a county building.
Oh, well, I mean, maybe the city and the county could work together and the DDA.
So I just had lunch with the county administrator today. Great guy, easy to work with. I wasn't aware of that issue, but certainly it's something to be considered because we have lots of parties in the downtown. We have social district, lots of opportunity for people to want to need to use a potty. And of all the places, instead of having a porta potty, downtown is probably the best option.
So it's not really an issue, it's just about.
Isn't there an issue with, like the restrooms at Crampton Park constantly being
So,
vandalized and abused and?
so yeah, we do,
Park
we
as well,
have
right?
a ton of vandalism in the bathrooms. Until I got into this line of work, I didn't realize how horrible people treat public bathrooms. It's shocking, really. It also becomes, unfortunately, a homeless shelter. Homeless who don't want to get drug-free will often use public bathrooms as nighttime shelter during the winter. And we just had a significant issue in Rodin, I think. So, like I said, great idea. And there's probably ways to resolve a lot of these issues amongst the costs, but it's a cost-benefit analysis too.
Would police on bicycles help deter that? Just their presence? I mean, if they know they're coming. they know they're around.
So for the most part, we're aware of the issue. But just like, because I was there at the time, it's not illegal to arrest somebody who's a person existing in a park.
Right, but if they're doing vandalism, if they're doing legal stuff, I mean.
So I'll tell you exactly what happened because I was there. The bathroom, there's a bench 50 feet up the road. I get there, there's nobody in the bathroom. The guy's sitting on a bench. Second I leave, what do you think happens? Yeah, so homelessness is not an easy issue to resolve. All right, other issues, thoughts, concerns?
I just want to add, I was talking about upping the aesthetics in the parks.
Yep.
I'd like to see the aesthetics in the city up also. I think
Jimmy
that
hears
there's
this?
real- Not that the city's horrible, but I think we can always improve. Just like you came from another community and you can use information from your other community. I came out of Rochester and I've been to many cities across the country and I know we can improve and I know that there's wonderful things we can do.
Jim, do you know what Rochester's DDA budget is?
You know what, I don't think,
Yes, I know.
correct me if I'm wrong with it, but I don't think you're referring to just the downtown area.
Right.
She's saying the whole city. So to look at Jim about beautifying the city, he's the downtown district, so she meant the whole city.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
you know, I'm looking at it from the perspective of budgeting.
Oh,
Everything we do costs money.
yes.
And so the DDA is very convenient because A, it's in the downtown, right? It's surrounded by businesses. That's where the majority of people hang out and do stuff, right?
Debatable.
But he's also got a budget.
Yeah, so do you.
I do. And for a huge amount of the budget, it's stuff that, I mean, how are we gonna pay roads? How are we gonna pay our employees?
I don't know, well, Rodney figured out how to buy some flowers, so I think it's
So-
doable.
So one of the nice things about, you know, this and having both Jim and Rodney here is, right now, we're doing the cupolas. Those are getting refurbed and the cupolas are planted in nice planter boxes. They have flowers.
Very nice.
And don't tell anybody I said this, but I understand we're gonna be putting some lights in some of those, nice color changing lights that we're gonna be able to change colors on. You know, and all the time, we're looking at ways to do things. So, and I appreciate what you're saying, because I love flowers. I do. I was just up in,
But I'm talking about everything and I know it's about money and you're great at getting grants. But I mean, I'm thinking, I've seen little towns out west focus on sculpture. That brings the people in to check out all of the artwork. And I know that some businesses can rent the sculpture to put outside of the buildings at a nominal cost. I mean, there's so many things we can do. I want Lapeer to be special.
And I think as we look, the budget here with the old city manager leaving, it's a pretty healthy budget. So to come up with a few $1,000s for a sculpture, And we've got some fantastic local artists that do wonderful work.
So it's actually very interesting you guys say sculptures, because guess what? Jim and I are already working on that issue.
Love it.
How many sculptures were we talking about, 10 or so?
I
I think the current list is at 9.
Okay.
Nice.
So this is not public information, which is why we're not really getting into it, but it's a project we're working on.
It is now.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, YouTube can hear what I'm saying, right?
Well, as a commissioner, I wish I had known about this.
So it's not a city project.
Oh, it's not a city project.
So I just happen to show up at the meetings. So, anything else? Other thoughts, questions, concerns?
I'm always big on having like all the street lights matched, being the same color. I don't know, it's just one of my pet peeves.
So are they city streetlights or are they consumer / DTE streetlights?
I think we change them when they burn out.
So
I get
I've actually got a letter on my desk right now from, I think it's DTE, saying that they'd be happy to replace their old high-pressure sodium lights. Now, for those not familiar with lighting systems, those are the orangish lights that you see in industrial areas. They're ugly, horrible lights. Pretty much all lights nowadays are LED. However, LED will unfortunately burn themselves out in a different way. They tend to turn blue. And so there's actually a light just down the street from my house where it's like this bright blue color. It's weird because everything else is white, right? But replacing lights, very expensive. And if it's not a city street light, nothing we can do about it really. But anytime you see a street light that's burnt out or discolored, let us know. I think as a DTE, they have their own reporting system too.
I know the officers at night, when they're driving around, they always take note of that.
Okay, other thoughts, issues, concerns? Anything? Otherwise, we're doing a great job. You guys think we're amazing?
Hoorah.
Put down staff is amazing. No,
Staff
no
is
problems.
amazing.
No issues. The free cookies were great. That's what I want to say. Okay.
Yeah, when did we get cookies? You promised cookies.
Right there.
Young lady, you are getting me in trouble.
Yes.
Okay, if nothing else, here's what we're gonna do. You all got stickers, right? Did you get more stickers for everybody that wanted? Okay.
Rodney took care of it for me.
Thank you, Rob. You're welcome. So, what's the most important thing? Like, lots of good ideas. Some of them are very particularized, you know. I want the thing that I want, and everybody else is saying, what's the issue? I've never heard of that issue. So this exercise is gonna be you guys voting on what you think is the most important issues with your stickers. So you can come up here and whatever issue you think is the most important issue that you want us to work on, vote with your sticker, okay? And I think you got 6 stickers, right?
Yeah, they do.
So I would ask you at very minimum to put at least 1 sticker on this board. Rodney's been such a good sport. He came, he was required to. Did I require you to?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, crap, I did. Require you. He's a good sport anyways. So please give him some feedback about what you think would be a good play structure. And then please vote. Please tell me what you think is the most important issue.
Here's your plate.
And my 4th one. So because right over here, feel free to talk to other people about what you think is most important.
Thanks.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, well, right on that.
I don't see one, but I'm not really sure where that is.
Yeah, they kept it.
It is kind of
Pretty much the whole by
Yeah, it's real close to 10 too.
Where's the rule? We got all these things.
No, I've nothing to Did you vote? No, I mean, we're still getting this little public knowledge. I don't know what else you wanted to do. You can also feel free to stop by, email me anything you want.
Already talked to the people. Put it on the agenda. Typically when they.
What do you prepare?
Maybe when I do it in this.
This is a feature for
Yeah, I actually did that in my previous community. I call Humpbackers. And so you can actually go see it, well, it's not on Google Maps. So the last Google Maps is just that community, 2018. Yeah, I just got that done, just as I was leaving about 6 months ago. But it took the roads 45 feet down, like we said. No, I believe in veteran basic. The nice thing is it takes you here with a quiet perspective.
I live on the street. This is a little different. During the summer, nothing goes have 3 planters on each side that indicate to the traffic that first of all, you slow down, you can't race into it.
Can you tell me what measures it is?
Yep, no, I'm familiar with that.
I'll put it on the agenda for the presentation.
You might want to, at very minimum, like pictures of the intersections you're talking about.
I know, and I remember, but then it got changed. It's been a long time. That was the same time when the money was. I'm not great at
So in most ways that vote is done in one vote or one.
No, like if you were going
And this is actually.
south side of the track. Everything east of the, right, east of the pavilion, basically, from the little trail thing that's there now.
So like when
He did it. That makes sense. You can actually let a couple of them kind of guide us. I got you.
Yeah, so I didn't put any
on
Because this is just, everything we've created here is state.
Oh, yeah, so my
The contract.
They're all 26 inches.
I found it.
There's still nice lights in there for you. We got some short. We got some short.
Show my cool four things.
Because they got a
I get the concept.
sense.
But I'm looking for a real world application.
Oh, yeah. So.
Because we're doing it here. But my boss for the city commission, they only get one vote. So beyond that, as a citizen, you get one vote. So how do I change it?
So my thought was, whatever internal decision making you guys do, unless it's a very formal procedure where you're required by law to do this thing, you may have an opportunity to get better.
To kind of make Are you talking about internally being staff? So obviously you're not part of my staff.
I have no idea because.
But it's generally very democratic. We sit in this room over here, and the department heads, including including this guy. And agree with me or not, but we talked about an issue. Everybody gets to have certain.
No, I'm done.
Even if it's a parks issue, we might have the finance director saying, well, that's gonna cost a lot of money, how do we
The
pay
ones
for
that
it?
we,
We'll have the police department saying, well, there might be vandalism and graffiti. We've got, all the voices at the table. And we allow them, for the most part, to talk about whatever they want. But,
So that's why they.
right, at the end of it, ultimately, a decision has to be made. And generally, I mean, unless I take it to my board. But, you just can't always have everything be okay.
Oh, sure, yeah, we found out really. Oh, I know. It's everything's in the light. Just like when I share with don't know for anything we do, and we just have to know about it, just like last time we cleaned up Ulster.
Yeah, well.
Oh, I love this
Great cakes like dinner? Great cakes with your wife.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Oh, I love the gigantic.
I cut mine in for every year. If you contact with the county master gardeners, so you say anything you want. That's how you get that stuff done faster than trying to get it on a budget. Like DPW does not want to take your flower beds. But master gardeners will, they love that. I mean, they do tons of stuff all over the county, but if you contact them, they'll be right out for sale.
Is this your notes? I'm what that probably like said. Yeah, this is writing down next.
There's a lot of things out there.
Ooh, I want to be.
We see that you get there, we don't like it. So next time we go for the pictures. But.
Yeah, there's no. I mean,
People get shocked when they're property out in the legal, and then you sell your stuff.
I think, so.
They're like, oh, I did signs again.
It was dinner.
It's easier.
It's tricky, okay? You got to have these.
He goes, what was that for?
I also like the, it's like, those parking lot,
That was
just
the
get
first
on the front.
That's how much we paid for 3 months.
Yeah.
I hate putting them.
I know that.
What's the matter? Why do you?
Yeah.
Exactly what that is.
Yeah. I think Parkwood.
That seems to be what I
It's
was.
gotta be miserable.
I like this. They love that Ninja Warrior stuff, but what we need don't mean shit. We just need to ask the kids to.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah. If we just have cookies and lemonade, I'll make drink lemonade and have an open house in Cranston.
And then they got nailed up for not allowing
Come to the pavilion and vote on it.
a little freeload.
Yeah, real big party for $500.
People like our staff is on. Amazing.
Yes, you are.
Good
projects. I'd like to do. Budget season's coming around. There's a lot of stuff I don't know how to do. Especially if it's-
All those things, that's a free.
I don't know.
All around that world.
That's a good question. Oh,
And then I said,
okay.
newspaper.
There's a reason.
Any such.
Before anybody is done, I do have public comment on the agenda. Does anybody want to make a public comment? Going once, going twice? All right, thank you. I see no public comment. Thank you.
We're meeting Friday, right?
I don't know, honestly,
So that,
Here.
yeah, because, did